unfortunately, that's not the world we live in. Yet.
Over the years, social media has become a tool that has been used to create a narrative that has been detrimental to the law enforcement community.
Today, 86% of police officers say that their jobs are harder due to public perception.
Department shortages plague our nation, and public support is at an all-time low. This is why we started Bridge the Blue.
We're a nonprofit community that is obsessed with rewriting the narrative.
The very heartbeat of our organization is to be a bridge
and help improve the relationships between law enforcement
and our local communities.
We'd like to invite you to join the conversation on social media.
As individuals, we can do a little more than argue our views, but together, we can spark movement to give everyone a voice and let their voices be heard. A movement of this magnitude requires resources. What we're asking is that everyone who's bold enough to publicly support law enforcement. Divided we will fall, but united we will stand, and together,
we can make America safe again.
Yeah, I know. Hey, what is going on, Bridge the Blue crew? And for many of you that may not know who Bridge the Blue is, we actually are a nonprofit that exists to help make America safe again by bridging the gap between law enforcement and community. And so we have this program that is scheduled for the next hour and a half, maybe a little bit more, because we wanted to let our voices be heard. We believe that the majority of Americans still support law enforcement, believe in God, believe in family, and believe in the United States of America. So we're really excited to have you here. Thank you for giving of your time, and we have a really great show in store for you today. So what we're going to go ahead and do really quick, one of those things that we believe in, that we believe you believe in, is God. So we're actually going to start off in prayer. Okay, so if you just want to bow your heads, close your eyes, let's just go ahead and pray. And then I'm going to introduce to you the man behind the entire vision, and I can't wait to do that. So, Father God, we just thank you for this time. We thank you for being here. Your word says that we're two more gathered in your name, that you're right there in the midst. And we know that there's going to be thousands watching, not only here in the United States, but also all around the world. So, God, we thank you for your presence. Your word says that where your spirit is, there's freedom and there's liberty. And so, God, we thank you for that freedom. We thank you for that liberty. Holy Spirit, we invite you to come. Ask that you would open our eyes, that blind eyes would be open, that deaf ears would be able to hear. God, we ask that you would bless this time. Ask that you would begin to plant seeds in the lives of every single person watching. God, we can remain silent no more. And that's not just standing up for our law enforcement, but that's also standing up for you and declaring your name. So we ask that you be here during this time. We thank you for being here. We thank you for blessing this time. And we just give you all praise, all honor, and all glory. And it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, so again, welcome. If you're just now catching us, because we're probably going to have a few people just straggling in as we get started. Again, I want to say welcome. We have a great program in store for you today. This is the first time that we know of that something like this has ever been done. And so what I want to do is I want to introduce to you the man behind it all. I want to introduce to you the person that had this vision about 2.5 years ago, that saw this opportunity, that saw what was going on in this nation, that saw the divide that was happening. Because see, what we believe and what we've seen is that there's been a divide between law enforcement and community. And we want to bridge that gap. And so I want to introduce to you a man that I not only consider to be a great leader, he's not only a great husband, he's not only a great friend, and he's not just a pastor, he's not just a business owner, but I want to introduce to you to the founder of Bridge the Blue, Troy Skeen. So Troy.
Thanks, man. Love you, buddy.
Love you, man. Thank you. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for doing this. Thank you, my sister, my brother, friends, my uncle, all thank you for having this vision.
Come on. You're welcome.
I thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Hey, 3 weeks ago, we had a lot of crisis going on in our country, and we still have it going on today. And had this vision to do something about it, because honestly, I was having a hard time sleeping at night. And it was like, I can't just lay here and not do anything. I've got to do something, because as a lot of you who have gotten to know us over the last few weeks, I'm a family man. I love my family. I'm blessed to have such a wonderful family, but I also consider my family this country. And the direction that I was seeing this country go, and the direction that I was seeing us go with our law enforcement, I couldn't imagine what it was going to be like, not only weeks, but months and years down the road, if we didn't gain control of what's going on. And the only thing that I felt like was stopping that, for the most part, is the silent majority, because I do believe that most people in this country love God. I believe that most people in this country love their family. I believe most people in this country love this country. And I believe most people love law enforcement, okay? Law enforcement is such an amazing and a job that we have got to have in place. The men and women in blue, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, they were getting all kinds of praises and people, saying kudos to law enforcement and all this kind of stuff. And then just a few weeks ago, the tables turned. And it's because someone's tried to change the narrative, okay? And I believe that group of people that tried to change that narrative or are changing it is a smaller portion of people. I believe the vast majority of this country loves its law enforcement and stands behind them and is willing to stand behind them day after day after day. I truly believe that. So I want to talk just a little bit more about my family real quick, and then we'll continue on. But I am blessed to not only be a husband of almost 25 years to an absolutely amazing woman. I'm also a father, and I've got 4 kids technically. I have a son who has become a reserve officer for a police department and is looking at going into law enforcement full-time down the road, but he's kind of taking that a little slow right now because he's got a family he's been building quickly. And yes, I have 2 grandkids from my son and a granddaughter that will be here in just less than 2 months. Caleb, come here. I want you to actually meet Caleb. He's an incredible young man, and I am so honored as a father to have this young man representing law enforcement, because his passion and his desires to make a difference in his community is amazing. And so I just want you to meet Caleb Skeen, my son. I am honored again to have him here today and introduce you to him. So thanks, buddy. I love you, man. Caleb again is a father and 3 kids here just pretty soon, and husband of going on 3 years, I think now, somewhere in there. Then I have a daughter, Rachel, who's 23, and she just passed her schooling and so forth to become a detective, and she is so excited about it. I'm super excited to see what she does in life. And then I've got a younger daughter, Laylee. She is almost 17. That is crazy. I know, it's crazy, isn't it? But she is growing up so fast. And I have a son that passed away several years ago. But Lord has blessed us with a lot of kids, a lot of amazing kids. Outside of that, we've also had 19 other kids live in our house. I know. Isn't that crazy? Our house was crazy. But we just love people. I love people. I love my country. And again, I wasn't willing to just be silent anymore. So I had to do something, and that's where we came up with the Silent No More campaign from the nonprofit that we started a few years ago called Bridge to Blue. Before we continue any further, I would like to take time, ask you all to stand up, and we've got an amazing, amazing entertainer that is going to share the national anthem with us. Thank you.
My name is Dave Bray, USA. I'm a United States Navy veteran and a patriotic entertainer. On behalf of Bridge the Blue, I'd like to invite you to stand up Put your hand over your heart and remember our flag, our freedom, and the men and women who serve to protect them every single day. Here is our national anthem. Ooh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, and the Hello, America. My name is Dave Bray, USA. I'm a patriotic entertainer, and I hope that you enjoyed our version of the national anthem today. You know, I'm also a United States Navy veteran. I served with the Marine Corps, and for the last 5 or 6 years, I have used my music, my mission, and my voice in support of law enforcement, as well as all of our men and women serving in uniform. You know, it's important as American citizens to realize what is on the horizon for us. And when it comes to law enforcement in this day and age, I don't think any of us know what the future holds. So it's time for us as citizens to get involved. It's time for us to come to the aid of our brothers and sisters in blue. So let's get together at bridgetheblue.com. Go to bridgetheblue.com right now. Let's support this mission. Let's get behind it. And let's keep our brothers and sisters in blue holding that thin blue line. This is Dave Bray, USA, signing out. Don't forget, stay the course, finish the fight, and never surrender. And I'll see you all on the other side of freedom. So be well, and God bless.
All right, want to apologize just a little bit there, having a little bit of technical difficulty, but, you know, God is good, so what can I say? Dave Bray is an amazing, amazing entertainer, and I encourage you to look him up online because he's got a lot of great music. Today, at 1 p.m. Central Time, we had people meeting all over the country. Now, there was a little bit of confusion and with some people on where to go and what cities were doing it and so forth. We had some cities that had small amounts of people in them, and we had some cities that had hundreds and thousands of people that showed up for the rallies. The great thing is, it doesn't matter whether it was one person or if it was 200,000 people. The point is that people are choosing to not be silent anymore, and they are going out and making a difference. So I want to talk about that just a little bit before we move on. Again, why are we doing this? Why are we here today? Why are we moving with this campaign, Silent No More and so forth? Because I think it's important that we all understand the heart of what it is that we're trying to accomplish. Some people say, well, we're back in the blue. Let's back the blue. And I want to really emphasize that backing the blue is huge and it's important. But we looked at it just a little bit deeper, and we felt like, no, we need to bridge the blue. Because we've got a world out there that is broken. And the only way that we can see to fix the problem is to see healing on both sides. Can we back the blue? Yes. We can encourage them and build them, and that's what part of today is about. Because by George, we got so many amazing law enforcement officers out there all across this country. And the vast majority, I would even say it's safe to say 98, 99% of our law enforcement officers are actually absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. And we need to be behind them. But there's a narrative that's being spoken right now that says the majority of our law enforcement is trash. We need to defund them. We need to get them out. We need to take law enforcement out of the picture and put in people to come in their suits and dresses and fix the problems and so forth during these altercations. It ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen like that. It just won't. But is there things that we can improve on? Is there things that we can do? Yes, there are. We've got to build a bridge. We've got to build a bridge between, let's just call it the left and the right. Okay? The ones that are creating this narrative and speaking this narrative out, and the truth. What I consider the truth. But we can't just do it one-sided. We've got to have that bridge. And that bridge includes having some hard conversations. We've got to be willing to go to the table with both sides and look at the problems, look at the issues. You know, I was explaining this yesterday on Facebook Live, but we can't be quick to judge. We can't be quick to look at the other side and say, oh, they're all screwed up and they're messed up, and call them names and all that kind of stuff, because then we become part of the problem. But what we need to do is we need to be able to listen to what the other side has to say. We need to be able to sit and listen with our mouths closed and hear their heart, hear the reasoning of why they feel the way they feel. What was their life experience? Because none of us have looked through their eyes. None of us have experienced what that person has experienced. You know, whether it's, who knows what their life was like growing up? Who knows what they experienced with law enforcement even? We don't know. So we can't be quick to judge. But what we can do is we can listen to them. We can hear what they have to say. And you know what? We can probably learn. I believe we can learn from them. But we got to be willing to sit down at the table with them. And meanwhile, at the same time, we need to let our men and women know in blue that's wearing that badge, that's going out and answering those calls every day, that we support them, that we are behind them, that we're marching with them. Okay? We need to restore honor and respect. We've got 3 initiatives that we were working towards this month. Just 3 basic, well, I wouldn't say basic, 3 big things, but 3 things that is a step in the right direction. And were we able to put it all together and everything be perfect in a 3-week period? No. We just had a video that was all crackly and so forth. Okay? It's okay. Those things are minor things. Let's just meet on the foundational principles. Let's meet on the foundation and build up from there. Okay? This month we wanted to have rallies all over the country so that the men and women in blue would know that we don't just support them in one area or another, but the people across this country, the silent majority, is supporting their law enforcement. And I think today we had a huge success. Huge success. Yes, there was parts of the country where one person showed up at a courthouse. One. Now, some people might say, well, that wasn't very successful. In my mind, it was hugely successful because it's one more person that's not silent anymore. It's one more person that did their part and went out and let the blue know that we support them. Other cities had hundreds. Some had thousands. And we're going to show some of those videos after a while. But the point is, we're letting them know. The point is, we're not being silent. The point is, we're taking a step forward. And there's a lot of steps to take yet. We got a long ways to go. But we're taking a step. And that's what this is all about. Taking a step. So, I'm going to quit ranting and raving here for just a minute. And we're going to show you some pictures of the men and women in blue from all over this country. So let's take a few minutes and watch this. There's our men and women. There's our men and women all over the country that we need to be so proud of, and I am so honored to introduce you to. But coming up next, we got a special guest, and he is the spokesperson for the police union. So go ahead and play that video, guys.
Hi, I'm Joe Grimaldi, President of the Houston Police Officers Union and Vice President of the National Fraternal Order of Police. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming out to the Back to Blue rally today. We know that the overwhelming majority of Americans love, support, and appreciate their police officers. And in fact, I just left a meeting at the White House with Vice President Mike Pence, where he reaffirmed the strong support that law enforcement has here at the White House. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming out today and supporting us. We love y'all, and keep supporting the brave men and women of law enforcement.
everybody. This is Troy Skeen with Bridge the Blue, and it's an honor to be here today, an honor to be speaking with someone that I know you're all going to be excited to hear from. It's Kevin Harrington, one of the original sharks on the TV show Sharktank. He is the creator of the infomercial, pioneer of As Seen on TV brand, the author. Kevin has also generated almost $6 billion in sales behind the launch of more than 500 products. 20 of his companies have reached and topped 100 million in revenue. Kevin has a major new book titled Mentor to Millions coming out here real soon. Kevin, you have accomplished so much over the time. Man, you've lived it, man.
Well, Troy, hey, thank you. It's I've been doing entrepreneurial things now for about 40 years. So some days I feel that old, but thanks for the great introduction.
Yeah. Hey, Kevin, I just want to ask you a few questions, and one of those questions, just kind of get us kicked off here, is what do you love about our country and all the business owners that you've dealt with in the past? Why do you do it?
I'm going to go all the way back, Troy. I was 11 years old when my dad had opened up his first bar and wanted me to come work inside there. And I said, "This is the American dream." My dad, he flew fighter jets in the war, and I say jets, actually planes, in World War II. But he came home and wanted to own his own business, and I started working for him, and he encouraged me to own my own business. So when I was 15, out sealing driveways in Cincinnati, Ohio, and doing 10 driveways a week, and obviously paying for my own schooling and everything at that time. So I've been an entrepreneur for 40 years, and I just have to say that living in America, it's the American dream to be able to own your own business and build something from an idea to a mountain. And so I just love being able to wake up every day and have every opportunity available to me.
Wow. That's awesome. Hey, the silent majority of the American people, the ones that love God, they love family, they love this country, and they love the men and women in blue. They don't tend to show a presence during times of conflict because of the fear of retaliation.
Yeah.
What would you say to them about that?
Well, it's a tough situation. As you say, the silent majority, they are a majority. So we could use the help of that silent majority to actually look at that fear and tackle it. I look at it almost how in the world of business, and when business is tough and sales are down, you can just keep letting it go. But most of the time, a good entrepreneur is going to tackle that fear and use it really to motivate them to take things and make it happen in a positive way. So I believe it's very similar, that the silent majority needs to be able to conquer that fear. And it's not that tough because there is a majority. Your neighbors are all thinking the same thing. So, there's power in numbers. And I believe that once we can get that ball rolling, then we have a powerful majority.
Yeah, I agree. I so much agree with you. With your experience in life, there's no question about it. You know the meaning of working hard and helping others. Can you expand on the meaning and the sacrifice that you see the men and women in blue taking every day?
When you think about it, I have many friends that serve in the police department, SWAT, in the military, and when I think about my own father who flew 150 plus missions, risking his life every single time he went up, and by the way, when he was flying World War II, after 25 missions, he was allowed to go home, but he developed a camaraderie with the other pilots that his squadron, they wanted to stay because they had developed a skill set in flying. So this is the kind of mentality that I just love about those serving our country, those serving in the military, those serving in the police departments. It's danger of waking up in the morning and getting out there is real. And so I believe that we owe it to them for them putting their lives on the line for us. And this is a real life, live or die situation on a daily basis. And so my heart goes out to every police officer that is out there to protect us on a daily basis.
Wow, that's great. So our law enforcement officers, they definitely need some encouragement today. They're getting hit left and right, daily, it seems like right now. What would you say to the men and women in blue? It's an encouraging word.
I would say this, that they have taken the oath to protect us, and God bless, they've done an amazing job. I mean, we have a tremendous police force. My local area here, St. Pete, Tampa, Clearwater. I know many of them, hang out with them, and I just want to encourage them to continue to do this, because too many of the public don't understand what's involved here. They have the vision, and because of that, then we need their passion and their continued drive and support to protect those that don't understand. And I mean, that's the problem. I just think too many people out there really don't understand the challenges and the problems that law enforcement is facing on a daily basis. So, this is the time that it's important to dig as deep as possible and keep committed to helping all of us, and especially those that just don't have the capacity to understand the power of law enforcement.
That's good. That's good.
Thank you.
Wow. I believe the men and women of this great republic as well, the silent majority, need some encouragement today as well. So what would you say to them?
I would say to them that if they just take a look at what's happening out there right now, when times are tough, that is the time that you have to rally. That is the time that you look to your neighbor to the right, your neighbor to the left, and you have to be unified across the board. And so law enforcement is there for us. We need to also rally and let them know that we're there for them. And so I believe we need to make more powerful commitments to providing support to the law enforcement out in the community.
Right on. Well, Kevin, I want to say thanks for spending some time with us today. Like I said before, it really is an honor to have you here today, sharing with everybody of this great nation. And once again, thank you. And hopefully we can have some more time at another time.
Hey, Troy, thanks for having me today. Appreciate it.
So Vinnie, you get people trying to say your name all the time in funny ways?
Try to say my name funny all the time?
With an Italian accent or something?
No, not really. Like Vinnie's a pretty common name, so I think people call me that. Like sometimes, depending where I'm at in the country, like Montez. I grew up with understanding my name was pronounced Montez. That's how my family pronounced it. But like the further south you go, it's like Montes, ¿qué pasó, qué rollo? And so it changes a little bit. But either way, it's fine with me.
Good. I just, for whatever reason, every time I hear it, I want to say it with some kind of an Italian accent, you know. So.
Oh, that's all right. No worries. People confuse me. Hey, Vinnie, how you doing, buddy? What's going on, bro?
Exactly.
Yeah. But only when I go back east, you know, that's only really where I get that.
Well, hey, man, I just wanted to say that, you know, I'm glad and honored to have you here today.
Thank you.
I know there's a lot that you have to offer, and you've got a lot of experience under your belt. And, you know, I kind of, when I look and talk to people like yourself, Vinnie, and I've been doing quite a few interviews with different officers and veterans and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I see you as a father, as a, you know, in the family of law enforcement. You've been around long enough. You've experienced a lot of different things, good and bad.
Yes.
And so you've become like a father to a lot of people. And so, as you know, the last 10 plus years, recruitment into law enforcement has gotten more and more and more difficult. I think some of the problems that have happened because of that is some departments have lowered their standards in order to get the new recruits in and fill some of those positions. Others have held tight, you know, on their standards. But long story short, we don't have enough qualified people applying for jobs in law enforcement today. So right. This whole problem is just, there's so many multiplications to it. And it's just, it's growing so fast in the current day. And what would you say to those who are considering going into law enforcement, but are afraid to because of the current situation and climate?
So I think it is truly what it was even 22 years ago. And I think it has to do with the passion for the individual. Like anybody who gets into law enforcement for the money or the perks, I mean, I don't care what agency you work for. You never make enough money. You never have everything that you want to have. It's the passion that's really, and I don't mean to be corny, is do you have a passion that you really want to help people? And I think one of the problems that we see a lot of times, to answer your question, is a lot of what we do, the very small majority or the very small amount of the action, like we would see on live PD or cops, that gets portrayed as the day-to-day operation of cops, when truly it's a very small, minute portion of what we do when it's in the action in the moment. What we're really dealing with is dealing with the calls that go on behind the scenes, but nobody wants to talk about those things, like where you're helping out the kid, the SRO, who has, 20 or 30 kids in a school who they've identified as, man, I should really help out and engage with those kids so that they're, one, mentorship, two, maybe guiding them down a path that's not going to lead them into trouble. Then you have our detectives who are dealing with, we have detectives that deal with domestic violence and sex crimes, and nobody wants to, those aren't sensationalized on TV, where, you got to be in that, you're actually making an impact where you're able to get a suspect and take them off the street who is molesting a kid or who is, perpetrating on an elder or something like that. Those are huge impactful things. They're not glitz and glam on the front page or on live PD or anything like that, but they're hugely impactful. And then you have the day-to-day contact where you have the average officer or deputy working on the street. And I don't mean to be, I'm just saying like routine-wise, I shouldn't say average, but they're working their area, their beat, whatever they call it in their jurisdiction. And they're having that face-to-face contact where they're just having conversations, they're responding to their calls, they're being of service. And that is what is fulfilling to cops over the course of a career, is that they're actually being able to see an impact being made. And I think the higher up that you go in the organization, sometimes it's hard to see that impact. I definitely feel that way as a commander. But nothing more fulfilling than you got, here's some great examples. and they're not necessarily criminal examples. A young lady came into one of our smaller towns that we contract law enforcement for. She was down on her luck, and one of our FTOs was training a new recruit. And this lady, she wasn't mentally ill. She wasn't on substance abuse. She was just down on her luck, and COVID happened to catch her at a bad time. So our deputies took it upon themselves to talk with the town and get her a place where she could shower and get her some food and get her some things that were out of their own pocket. And that mentorship for that FTO to that deputy was substantial. They got nominated for an award just to recognize that good character. But the answer to your question is, what do we need to do to try to bring these people in and maintain that? Is we need to talk about those things, those little things that everybody does every day that don't get talked about. Being of service, 90% of what we do and what other law enforcement officers do in the community is never ever going to be seen. When we go out and we handle an accident scene that's gruesome, or we go out and we handle a kid that has been molested, that's not going to be front page news, and nor should it be sometimes, because one of the things I've learned is you don't need to see it all the time if you don't absolutely have to. And that, as an explorer, I think that was kind of a bad thing, that I saw things at a young age where I could have waited a little while. But those little instances where they're doing those little small things where it may not be glitz and glam, but that's a huge impact to those people. Cops are always like, if you ask a cop, hey, do you remember that traffic stop you pulled that guy over like a year ago? Like, no, I don't remember that, because who can remember that? You do it so much. But if you ask that citizen the flip side perspective, if you went to that citizen and said, hey, do you remember you got pulled over by this cop? That impact, that one contact has a ripple effect for our organization. So when people are getting a little bit in that 7 to 10 year phase, we're like, oh man, I don't want to be a cop anymore. I don't know if this is what, like, remember when you just wanted to get into this job because it was the passion of doing it? I think you remember back to those things, and you talk about those things, and you say, look, you can have an impact on people that you'll never get to have anywhere else. This job offers you an opportunity to truly impact people. Now, you're going to get some impact that comes back from that, because we do deal with some very dangerous and some very gruesome things at times, but it's fulfilling because you're being a life of service. And my dad, I guess this goes a conviction back to my father, and he would always tell me, mijo, which means my son in Spanish, you never see a U-Haul behind a hearse. You don't take anything from this world with you. So what better way can you give to the people and the citizens in your community than to be of service? And I stand proudly next to every serviceman or woman that's ever served in our U.S. Armed Forces. It's kind of that kind of thing where there's so many people that have given so much sacrifice. And had that not happened, we wouldn't be able to be where we're at today. And we're always going to need young men and women to come in as a new generation to fill those spots. And if you have that conviction in your heart where you want to be of service, today, now more than ever, and you want to use the gift of gab, of communicating what the ability to reconcile differences, the ability to communicate, the effectiveness of what our mission is here at the Sheriff's Office. Those are all things that we're looking for. We can always get down with these two if we have to, but this should be our last resort. Sometimes we don't have an option because it's got to be made like that, and fine. But a majority of the time, this right here is what's going to get us through. And those people who are communicators or orators, or who can write creatively or have that artistic side to them in some way, we need you. And we need also people right now, we should be encouraging people that are in those walks of life, like bartenders that have that constant contact with people, like they're multitasking. You ever sat at a bar before? Of course, cops have sat at a bar before. You watch a bartender and you're like, man, I don't even know if I could do that as quickly as they're doing. Well, they're good at doing those things. We need to find people that have that skill set of being able to converse with people. And the other thing is, we need to show, this is the last thing, but this is not to the cops, this is to the administrators. We need to not be so worried about sharing the human side of what goes on in those day-to-day activities. Like, I've got a lot of friends in one of the groups that I'm affiliated with, Human Aid Badge. Some of their administrators, I'm not in their seat, so I don't know what they're seeing, but, snapping a photograph of a kid playing basketball with them and showing that human side of what cops do when they're out on the street, trying to humanize the badge with people, that should be an okay thing. You want to put that stuff out there because that's the good stuff. Nobody calls the cops, and I've said this a million times, nobody calls the cops when everything is going great. They only call the cops when things are going bad. And we need to kind of flip that script a little bit so that people see us in a different light, and we see them in a different light, where we're sharing good moments, not just the bad ones.
No, I so agree with you. Yeah.
one of the things that I see happening almost every day in the media, like on Facebook, for example, and so forth, is videos of officers retiring, calling it quits. It's a different world for so many of them today. And on one hand, I mean, just being honest, I don't blame them. I really don't. On the other hand, it scares me a little bit, just being real, because I see a whole new generation of officers that need to come in, but who's going to train them? Who's going to mentor them? So what's your thoughts on this subject? And what would you say to some of those officers?
I think one of the things that's happening in law enforcement right now is there's a huge change where the expectation is now that we police differently. And we are a reflection of our communities where we work. I mean, that is the truth of what it is. That is a very tough question. I know that there's days, and I'm not exempt from any of the thoughts or the emotions that impact everybody at certain times throughout their career. And I've had days I'm like, why am I still doing this? But then very quickly, something funny will happen, or, I'll be reminded, I'll get to run a call on the street, which I don't get to do very often as a commander. And when I get to be the cop again for just a little bit, that hasn't gone away from me. That's where I guess the passion is where I still like being in that role. So I guess if there's significant changes that are occurring to the point where people who've worked in this job for a long time don't want to change, and change is very hard for cops. Like, you want to make a cop lose their mind, tell them you're going to change their uniform that they're wearing, and it's going to be like, these are cataclysmic things, because there's a lot of tradition in what we do. Anybody who's been in this business for a long enough time, that's because that's how we've done it since day one. And I mean, I'm guilty of that too, because a lot of the things, I'm responsible for our training program where I work. And so I lead our cadre of FTOs, and it's hard going in there sometimes and saying, hey, we're going to change this up a little bit, because routine is what helps us detect problems. When we ask people questions, like, where are you going right now? Oh, that hesitation. Well, it should just be, I'm just going over here, right? That cadence, right? So cops like routine because they can pick up on the cadence, or they just are more comfortable because it's the routine of what they've done. There's so much change going on right now that's hard for cops to deal with. And some of the things that they're being asked to do right now, and how they police and how they interact with the public, it's not the old school model anymore. I mean, you got to get out, you got to get involved. And so to those officers who are just like, I just want to do it the way we've always done it. I'm sorry, those days, even as a old school guy like myself, that is changing, and we have to be open to changing, just like we have to be open to the different generation that's coming into law enforcement. They're a lot of the youngest generation, they're very tech savvy, and they're like, they can do awesome things on the computer. However, if you hand them an old school map and try to direct from that without a GPS telling them what's going on, we're going to have a problem, Houston. I'm going to tell you right now. So we're dealing with different flux. I say that if you're willing to make the changes and commit to that, then please stay, because we want people to be able to teach. What you said earlier is we want to be able to share that information. And I think that's what we're finding now is like our youngest echelon of patrol officers is getting younger and younger. We're losing a lot of that old base of, longevity. I encourage those people to stay, but if you're going to stay and be disgruntled about it, that's not going to impact positively. We're going to teach our young people to be disgruntled, and that's not what we want to do, because positivity is very contagious, but so is negativity. So I think it's a decision that's a personal decision for every single person, but you have to, I think I'll go back to what I said earlier. You have to define for yourself, is this a passion for you still? And I think that's what it has to be for cops. And one of the things I will tell you is, if you're not passionate about what you're doing, you have a couple options besides leaving. Maybe you need to do something else with inside the agency. Yeah. Maybe you got to go do a tour in the jail if you work for a sheriff's office and patrol. Because I think when people stay where they're at for a very long time and then they're asked to make a change or, move around, change is always scary too, but you know what? You're only going to grow by doing that. And you got to start looking inwardly to figure out what are those things. So I tell you, that's my response to that. In closing, if you are going to leave, take the time to share some of those information pieces of your learning thoughts, put them down on paper. Because a lot of what happens is all that experience where people have this, they're the SME, the subject matter expert for 10, 20 years. It's all up here. And then they leave and there's no record of what they did, how they did. And we're about to lose a sergeant here not too long. And he's been our go-to guy for emergency services. But he has so much experience about dealing with rescues and all that stuff. We've started to slowly assimilate all of his information to his head down to the paper, which is smart. So please don't just up and run, leave that information. So system-wise and also history and it's all shared. So that's just, you can pick up and people can have that information instead of starting at square one again. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening to this message. I will take a very limited amount of time. Thank you for listening. I just want to say a couple of things. My name is Vinnie Montez, and I really appreciate you supporting law enforcement. It's important that those who are listening to this message not only support law enforcement now, but step out and up to the plate to help those men and women who are entering law enforcement today. One of the toughest challenges facing law enforcement organizations around the country is recruiting and retaining law enforcement personnel. Right now, with the media coverage going around the country, with things that are stirring up within the different communities, it's important now more than ever to support the men and women who are serving your local communities. Remain silent no more. What does that mean? It means for you to stand up and talk about the things that you're feeling and hearing in your community. I know that there's a lot of people around the country who support law enforcement, but now the young men and women who are coming into these different agencies, they need to hear your message. They need to hear from you directly that you support them, and that will encourage them to remain part of those organizations. Now more than ever, we need law enforcement personnel to respond to calls for service. A lot of people are retiring from this profession. Some people have worked 20 or 30 years, and that retirement is well earned. But we still need to retain people in order to pass on the lessons learned over the past 20 or 30 years to the newer echelon of officers who are starting to join agencies. There's a lot of things that are being said negatively in the media, but one of the things that's not being said, and one of the things that we're concerned about and what I'm concerned about, is people remaining silent. Remain silent no more. The encouragement that you can provide to the young men and women who are joining the ranks of law enforcement agencies will only help bolster your community and the response for calls for service. It's important, and anybody goes to do this job, that they have the support and they feel their communities behind them. I encourage you to take the time to speak up and encourage those young men and women that are coming into this field to not give up the fight. We can't do it alone. Communities have to back the people that are supporting those communities in law enforcement capacity. We're all in this together. It's not us and them. It's us and us. Everybody has to be together. Thank you guys very much for listening to this message, and I wish you all the best.
Wow, that guy has got so much wisdom. One thing I have done is I've fallen in love with that guy. He is just incredible. And I'm hoping to gain some more knowledge from him as time goes on. But, I wanted to hear a little bit from other community leaders and people in the community, and just kind of hear what some of their thoughts are. And today, live, we're blessed to have Mary Nan Huffman with us today. And I'm going to let her share a little bit about who she is, where she's from, what she's doing, and so forth. And then we're going to ask her a couple of questions and see what her thoughts are.
Hi, I'm Mary Nan Huffman. I'm running for district attorney in Harris County, Texas. I was a prosecutor for almost 10 years, and that's when I really started working with law enforcement and having an appreciation for what they do. I did that for 10 years. When I left the DA's office, I was the chief of child exploitation, internet crimes against children, child human trafficking was my passion. But now I'm an attorney, and I work with Houston police officers, so I go out on a lot of scenes. And I decided to run for district attorney because the morale on these scenes, these officers, they're out there, they're putting their lives on the line. You have these people that are getting arrested over and over and over again. They're out on bond for aggravated robbery, and they feel like they have nobody backing them up. And so I want to partner and support law enforcement to make Harris County the safest, greatest place to live.
Wow. How have you seen the shift happen? I mean, in your eyes, what's happening right now? And what needs to change in your opinion?
I think that people need to know the truth. They need to know what law enforcement officers are out there doing. I think that so much negative media attention all the time is not the truth. It's not what's happening out there. I think that if people really knew what these officers were going through, not just to protect us from crime, but from natural disasters. In Texas, we had Hurricane Harvey a couple of years ago, and these officers, they worked day and night rescuing people from their houses, and they just do an amazing job, a selfless job. And I think being a police officer is just like being a prosecutor. Nobody does it for the money. Nobody does it because you want to be shot at or because you want to wear a body camera 24 hours a day on your job. You do it because it's a calling and you love it.
And if you could encourage, first of all, if you could say an encouraging word to the law enforcement officers that are out there across this country, what would it be?
Just thank you for doing this job. There's so many people out there that don't want to do it. Our law enforcement applications nationwide are down 63%. That was last year, was down 63%. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like this upcoming year, and we need the police. Yeah. We need them. Yeah.
And to the American people, the silent majority, what would you say to them?
I think hang in there. There is a group of us that care about our families, that care about God, that care about law and order, and we're going to come out on top. Just hang in there.
Yeah. I believe we live in the greatest country in the world, and I said this earlier, but I've been places where they don't have a very established law enforcement in those countries, and it is just scary. It's sad how they function. And we're heading that path if we continue this direction. But I believe we can re-steer the course, and we can get things back on track. But we need everybody participating. We need everybody participating because not just one or two people are going to be able to change this. It's going to take the whole country to see this happen. So I want to thank you for being here today. It's incredible to meet you, and I'm glad the American people got to hear from you. You got a lot of wisdom and a lot of insight, and good luck with the campaign.
Thank you. And thank you for all that you do.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. All right. Hey, we're back, and with us is Julie Davis. Julie, it's been fun to get to know you the last couple of years. I think we actually met first during Harvey. I don't know if you know this, but during Harvey, out of this building, we actually distributed a little over $5 million worth of diapers to the community. $5 million. That's a lot of diapers. There was literally semi-truckloads coming in, and that doesn't include the food and the sheets and the clothes and all the necessities that went along with that. It was just an incredible time, and you gave a lot of effort towards that. And I know that you're involved in a lot of areas in our community, and you're actually in the thick of it, if I can say it that way, from what I understand. And so can you just kind of share with us a little bit, again, who you are, what you're doing in the community, and because there's several different hats that you're wearing, and then we'll kind of go from there.
So I am a foster parent, so we'll start with that. I think as a mom, that's my first hat I wear every day is I'm a foster mom. I've adopted 3 kids out of the system, and so we've seen their struggle and court battles. But I recently laid down a hat of a CASA advocate, which I was for 3 years, and I currently run a nonprofit called Hope's Bridge, and that's where we partnered with you with diapers, and we still do full turnkey resources for kids in foster care to support them as they're coming through care. They often come with little or nothing. And so that battle is hard for little kids, and the trauma is there to fear everything, including police officers from day one. And I'm currently running for city council in the city of Montgomery. So a lot of different hats.
Awesome. So you've had a lot of interaction with law enforcement. And what's that look like? I mean, how's that go? I mean, what's your experience been?
I guess I'll start with my biggest interaction with law enforcement is probably that I have a lead foot and I am not the slowest driver.
She's being honest.
There's your honesty. I have had more than my fair share of tickets and never had any issues. But other than that, like in my current life right now, I more interact with law enforcement through the court system, with CPS, with CASA, and navigating those different walks, whether it's a biological parent that is an inmate coming into court in shackles, or whether it looks like just navigating a kid's trauma as they came into care and a law enforcement officer delivered them to my doorsteps, just walking those journeys with people.
Wow. Can you imagine what some of those situations would look like without law enforcement's help?
It's really scary. It's frankly unbelievable. I can't imagine. I don't know where we'd be right now as a society. I can't process it. I think we'd look more like a third world country.
Yeah, for sure. So what would you say to the men and women in blue out there?
Stay the course. There are people back here, even though we've stood silent. I agree with the Silent No More. Our family personally completely supports you, and just know that you need to link arms with the people that are cheering in your direction, and don't look back. Worry about who's in your corner, not who's not.
Right on. Appreciate it. And what would you say to the American people?
It's time to stand up. It's time for people to call to action and realize that we live in a pretty dark world, and without those law enforcement officers, we wouldn't be able to see most of the light of day that we see and enjoy every day. So it's time to stand up.
Right on. All right, Silent No More, folks. Silent No More. We can do this together. We'll be right back.
Have you ever imagined what this country would look like without law enforcement?
Thankfully, that's not the world we live in. Yet.
Over the years, social media has become a tool that has been used to create a narrative that has been detrimental to the law enforcement community.
Today, 86% of police officers say that their jobs are harder due to public perception.
Department shortages plague our nation, and public support is at an all-time low. This is why we started Bridge the Blue.
We're a nonprofit community that is obsessed with rewriting the narrative.
The very heartbeat of our organization is to be a bridge
and help improve the relationships between law enforcement
and our local communities.
We'd like to invite you to join the conversation on social media.
As individuals, we can do a little more than argue our views, but together, we can spark movement to give everyone a voice and let their voices be heard. A movement of this magnitude requires resources. What we're asking is that everyone who's bold enough to publicly support law enforcement. Divided we will fall, but united we will stand, and together,
we can make America safe again.
Three, two. All right, hey, we're back, and we've got a special guest here. But I also wanted to point out a fact, and that is today we had 6 police officers that were scheduled to be here with us to interview. And unfortunately, 5 of those ended up not being able to be here due to different circumstances and so forth. But we are so privileged to have this young lady, Deputy Yurta, I want you to share your story a little bit of why you got into law enforcement, and feel free to tell us a little bit more about yourself. I know you're a master police officer now, correct? You finished that process here last year. Was it this year or last year? February. So congratulations on that. And tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been in the serving the community, and why you even became a police officer.
Well, in short, literally in short, when I was about a yay tall to a grasshopper, I've always wanted to be the mujer policía, the policewoman in Spanish. And I would run around my great aunt's house and tell her that I was going to be a police officer by day and a nurse by night. And she would tell me, "You go, mija, you do what you want to do." Okay, well, fast forward 51 years younger, been there, done that. I could say I worked in the medical field for 20 plus years. I'd had my nursing background, and then I became a police officer. So it was something that I had deep down that I was determined to do it. Yeah. And when I turned 40, I said, no, I'm getting in. I'm going to get in, and they offered me a jailer position. I said, nope. I said, you put me on that list. I said, I will graduate a deputy. And sure enough, it was.
That's a little late in life, isn't it? Some would say that anyway.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. People tell me, they're like, how old were you? I was like, yeah, I was 40. I was the oldest female in my cadet class. Wow. And it was a challenge because it was 7 months of, grueling, physical and mental, it was like going back to school all over again. Testing is like, oh God, anxiety went, out the window. But I was determined. I was like, nope, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And I did it.
So you were literally doing it because you loved the job.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Most definitely. Wow. I've loved the job since I was little. I didn't know what it all entitled then. Now, fast forward, like I said, all these years later, I've seen from the good to the worst and all in between, and working in the medical field has helped me in my job today, to overcome some of the things that for the normal person would be like, throwing up or puking or can't see blood or pass out, stuff like that. So, I've been blessed to have walked that line first and then fulfill my dream as being a police officer now. Wow. And I enjoy it. I enjoyed every minute of it.
Right on. Now, this may sound a little funny, but I just want to be, clear. You wear socks, right?
Of course.
Yeah. And you slip your underwear on every day?
Every day.
You shower every day? Wow. So basically what you're telling me is you're an average human being.
I'm an average human being. I bleed red too.
Wow, you bleed red too. Yeah. Okay. So, wow. I just want to point out that cops are humans. Cops are people who have family. You have family. Okay. You have children.
I do.
Okay. You have parents.
They have passed now.
They passed. Okay. And other family members. I mean,
I'm the
youngest of four. Okay. So cops are just like you and me. They're people with families. They are people that love to be with their kids, that love to be with their spouses. They're people that drive cars and have flat tires once in a while. They get haircuts just like you and I. My point is that the one thing that makes them different is their heart and their passion for the job and the uniform that they put on every day. Okay? They are human. They are human. Cece, sorry, I call her Cece, sorry. It's a nickname. But what in your eyes, what has kind of transpired in the way the image of law enforcement is looked at in your eyes? I mean, how can you give us a picture in your mind of what that looks like?
With everything going on right now, Troy, you try to put all the positive on one side of the plate, which is in the middle, because if you try to put too many things on the plate, which we all do, even in our daily lives, but I try to put the positive in the middle, because if there's always something negative trying to come in, always. And if we use that positive energy towards that negative thought process, action, or incident. Yeah, we're human. We're gonna make mistakes, but a lot. Me personally, a lot of prayer comes into mind. It's like, oh Lord Jesus, help me to make the right decision at the right time, at the right moment, so that the positive influence that I keep every day transpires to the person that I meet that day, or the child that I help that day, that whomever crosses my path that day, I can share that with them. Because if, with everything that's going on right now, if I use the negative that they are showing towards us and take it home with me, that's going to hurt. It's going to hurt in the long run. It's going to hurt my family. It's going to hurt my my immediate loved ones, and it's just going to be that domino effect. Yeah. And then my great nephews and nieces are going to, they're probably going to see this video maybe 5-10 years from now. I don't know, but I want them to know that their aunt, their sister, their cousin, because I have family all over the place, want you to know that this is the job that I love to do, and I will do it for anybody because that's my calling. But my positive vibe to you and to everybody out there is, this is what you love to do it. I mean, because if you love the job that you do, you don't work a day in your life. Yeah. So I mean, and that's pretty much what I keep right now. It's keeping me sane. It's just keep thinking positive. No, we're gonna get through this. We're gonna get through this. Good Lord knows we've been through worse, and we're still standing. Yeah. So that's what I keep telling myself, and that's helped. It's helped. Yeah. It's release some stress and so forth, but it's challenging. It's challenging for the most part.
Wow. And to your brothers and sisters in blue out there, is there anything else you'd say to them?
Oh man, I know it's tough to say there, hey, hold the line, this and that, and it's hard when you have somebody in your face screaming at you or spitting at you or throwing things at you and physically hurting you. At that moment in time, you try not to think of, that negative impact that it has on you. But I am praying for you and everybody around, nationwide, worldwide, because we have brothers and sisters worldwide. And every day I go to bed, every night I wake up, Lord, help my brothers in blue, my sisters in blue, here, locally, worldwide, nationwide. Please make them go home safe. As I lay me down to rest, you take care of the rest. I love you guys. I pray for you every day, and we're gonna make it. We're gonna become number one again.
Yeah, right on. And to the silent majority that absolutely love our law enforcement out there, you got any words for them?
To the silent majority, as parents, we tell our kids, stand up for what you believe in, and if you're wrong, you're wrong. Accept your, the responsibility. If you're right, it's going to show. Same here. To that silent majority that's afraid to stand up for us, we got you. Just like we have brothers and sisters, we have that line, I got your six. I, the law enforcement, tell the community, I got your six because I will protect you. I don't know who you are, but I will protect you, and that's my job. That's the job that I love to do. So I'm here for you, and all I'm asking is for you guys to be there for us.
Yeah, right on. Folks, that's Deputy Yurta. She is an incredible officer. Man, thank you so much for being here today, and thank you for what you do every day. We're so grateful. We're so grateful that we can get on that phone, dial 911, and you won't second guess the call. You'll just go. Thank you. Thank you. All right, we got someone extremely special to me, a police officer that I have grown very fond of. He is an incredible man, and stay tuned. Let's take a listen to him.
My name's Devin Hebert. I live in the city of Crowley in Crowley, Louisiana. I'm a lieutenant with the Crowley Police Department. I've been in law enforcement for 8 years. I have a beautiful girlfriend and a future wife. I also have a child, a little girl, and she's my heart, man. This job is just a passion that I have, and having a daughter just about breaks even with the passion I have for law enforcement, and she's my everything. She's the reason why I do this job. not for the money, but just I love it. I love her. I love everything about being a police officer. I thrive to help people, and I want to help people the best way I can. I got into law enforcement right out of high school. When I was younger, I had lived in a home that was full of domestic violence as a child, and there was nothing I can do to prevent it, nothing I can do to help. You know, my mother, just years of abuse. And when I got older, I thought if I could help anyone, I want to help women, men, children that live in that type of environment. And that's whenever I decided I wanted to be a police officer. And ever since then, I've been thriving and helping people, and it's a blessing. It really is. I've tried other jobs, and it's just this job keeps on calling and calling back to me. Not even a job, a passion, a career, and I do it every day and no regrets. And on a daily basis, we deal with the absolute worst things. We deal with great people that are just having the worst days, and you see the worst in all the people every single day. And for years, I've threatened to quit. I've told myself I can't do it anymore. It's stressful. I'm 27 years old, and I feel like I'm so much older just from the stress. And one day you'll help someone and you'll impact their life tremendously. And it's like all the days of just terrible, just wanting to quit, just stressful days, it's like it's erased. And it's like it's a brand new start. Like I've started law enforcement over completely with the same passion I had from day one. And it's something as simple as helping an elderly lady or helping someone who lived in a domestic violent home get through it, teaching them the processes and how to make their life better. In anything where you actually help someone and impact their life can turn every negative aspect of the job and just throw it out the window, and you back to the same passion you had from the beginning. It's crazy how it works, but it's one thing can make you love it and 10 million things can make you hate it, and that one thing is enough. It really is. The struggles that we face every day, at least struggles that I face every day, is just going and dealing with all these different calls, from domestics to shooting to just disturbances, arguments between family members. It takes a toll on you. And me, I don't have the same issues that most people have that we deal with. And dealing with these people takes a lot of training that we don't have. We do the minimal, and we're required to do certain trainings every year. Learning on a computer is not good enough, but we do get a lot of training. We need more. We need more to help us prosper in our job, to help do the job better, because whenever you're dealing with people that may have mental disabilities, whenever you're dealing with situations that are domestic violence situations, whenever you're dealing with shootings, you need the training, because certain laws and procedures and stuff change daily, change every year. So we need that extra training to keep us updated, to keep us going to where we do things the right way. And it helps us. It helps us help other people. The Crowley Police Department gives us as much training as we can get. New people in CID go to their homicide trainings every year. People on patrol go to the academy. It's not enough. We deal with a career that you need constant training annually. You need it, because you can never stop learning, and you can never there's a million ways to do things, and you'll find out that there's better ways to do it as you go. So this constant need of training is an issue, because we're a small department and we don't have the budgets to continuously train as many officers as we have. It's just not there. They want to, but financially, You need money. I mean, to do stuff like that, you need money, and we just don't have the money. Dealing with these situations, whether it's just training on how to speak to people, how to deal with certain people with mental disabilities, or how to deal with domestic situations, how to gather crime scenes, whatever the training is that's needed, we don't really get a day-to-day or year-to-year training on all these things, but with the right funds, we can. And I can give you some examples, like, whether it's buying the correct vest or buying the correct gear that makes our job easier, whether it's lighter in weight, whether it's more efficient, whether it looks better, whatever the department wants. But even as that goes, it helps. And whenever we deal with all these situations, it takes a toll on you whenever you go and deal with the same people constantly, and what you're doing just isn't working. Whenever there's classes or there's seminars that help us deal with specific people with specific disabilities or specific issues, there's classes for that, and unfortunately they cost. A lot of officers spend money out of their own pocket for gear that help them do the job better, more efficiently. Some of us can't afford it financially, some of us can. It just depends. There's calls that I deal with where it's crazy, but you can be driving one day, me personally driving one day, listening to music, doing my normal patrolling at night, slower, trying to prevent crime, whenever you just start hearing gunshots. Looking around, and I see a truck in the road, broad daylight, 3 or 4 males jump out the truck and start shooting at an individual on the side of the road. Don't have my vest on. It's hot, doesn't fit properly, uncomfortable, don't have my vest on. I pursue. Out of instinct, I want the victim, or the victim I believe, to get the justice. So I pursue the suspects, no vest on. They jump in the back of the truck. At any point in time, they can jump up and end my life right then and there. But I signed up for this job. It's my passion. I want these guys off the street. So I pursue. Immediate red flags. They're not driving fast. I don't know what's going on in their head, but I know what's going on in my head. Fear. And it kept me alive that day. I pursue. They jump out. 2 of them had AR-15s. I have a pistol. Even if I did have my vest on, it doesn't stop the rounds that they have. Simple as that. I chase them. I chase the one with the biggest gun, because that's what I do. That's my passion. I want these guys off the street. Unfortunately, I didn't catch anybody, but I tried until I couldn't anymore, and they just happened to be faster than me. Stuff like that we deal with every day takes mental toll on us, and there's nothing we can do about it except keep pushing forward and keep helping as many people as we can. And like I said, that one day when you help somebody, just them seeing me chase those guys was enough for them, and it sits right with you. It weighs on your heart, and it makes you feel better. That's what the public wants to see, and that brings you closer to the public. And whenever the police department and the public are on the same page and support each other, we can have a thriving police department and do great things for the city. With that being said, we need support. We need help. I just wanted to share with you today a little piece of my heart, because this is my passion. This is what I love. As many times as I can think about quitting, or as many times as I say I'm going to quit, I'm done, I want a better life for my daughter, this is the only life I know. And it's the passion that I have. And I couldn't quit if I was told to quit. I just can't. I love it. And there's nothing that I can do about it. It's engraved in me. It's my heart. It's everything about me. And a lot of people know that. We need the support of y'all. We need support. We're normal people. Please come have a conversation with us. You'll find out how normal we are. Ask about our families. We'll ask about yours. We can be loving people, and we can show y'all that heart and that passion that we have for the job. But it takes two, and we need you. Financially, we can't do it. If you can support and help financially, please do so. If you can't, we completely understand. We just want support. Whatever support you can give, that's all we're asking for. And I appreciate everything. And once again, this is my passion, and I don't think there's anything that can stop me from wanting to help people.
Wow. What an incredible officer. I told you he was incredible. I want to remind everybody that we've got 3 initiatives that we're trying to tackle this month, the month of July. Some of those were today. We had the rallies that went on throughout the country, which we're going to have some video here just a little bit later showing some of those rallies. Then we got the live stream event that's going on currently and so forth. And the point of those rallies were to show the numbers and allow the silent majority an avenue to get out and show the men and women in this country that we support them. Okay. It was also today with the live stream. Again, it's partly about the numbers. We want to see lots and lots and lots of people streaming this video, watching this video, hearing from these officers, hearing from the community, hearing from a governor here in just a few minutes, okay? Hearing from a congressman here in just a few minutes of how they support and want to help the silence to be silent no more, and take this country back to the basics and the principles that we believe this country was founded on. But with Officer Hibbert, he that just shared, he is an incredible man, but he is a good example. Now, did you catch this in his story? He was on a traffic stop. Well, he was doing traffic one night, and he came across this active shooting that was going on. Okay, he pursued them, and I'm making a long story short here. He pursued them, but did you catch the beginning part of that story? He didn't have his vest on. And I don't remember if he actually went into the story of why he didn't have his vest on, but the reason he didn't have it on is because it was broke. It was broke. So he went to the storage and got out an old one, okay, that wasn't proper to be wearing to begin with, had a hard time wearing it, and it was sitting in the seat next to him. Okay? So, wow. Yay! It was sitting in the seat next to him, and when this all went on, he didn't have time to put it on. So he started pursuing the suspects and so forth. And again, that suspect had an AR-15 with them. Okay, he was pursuing them on foot, no vest on, because his was broke. Okay, was the primary reason why. Now, I believe we can't, as a silent majority, allow that to happen anymore. Okay, we have got to make sure that our men and women have the gear, the training, everything they need to be able to do the job that we're asking them to go out there and do every day. Okay, he didn't ask questions about it. He didn't back off and say, "Oh, I can't pursue that suspect because I don't have a vest on." He went anyway. He went anyway, knowing that he may not make it back home that night. He still went. And that was the third initiative that we're working on, okay, this month. And that is, we don't want to defund the police. We want to help fund them better. Because there's a lot of, especially small and medium-sized departments out there, they don't have the tax revenue. They don't have the ability to get the training that some of the public is yelling at them for not having. They got the bare minimum. They get by with the bare minimum. Even though they want that extra training, they can't access it because they don't have the funds to get it. Okay? They need gear. They need gear that guarantees or helps them know that they're going to get back home to their family that night. After that shift, whatever the shift is. They should all have, no question about it, they should all have vests. No question about it, they should all have a camera on them that protects them and the public. They should all have the equipment they need. No questions about it, folks. And that's where we, the silent majority, need to stand up. That's where we need to pull out our pocketbook, okay? We need to pull out our pocketbook. Because where our heart is, that's where our pocketbook is, okay? That's another way for us to speak. And we're not necessarily asking people to give a ton of money. What we're asking the American people to do is give $10. $10 during the month of July. Hello, that's a trip to Starbucks or something that you need to pass on. It's 2 Red Bulls that you don't need to have anyway. Although I've been guilty of drinking way too many of them. It's a little bit of sacrifice for the sacrifice that they're making every single day for us. Again, you know, as we were talking to Deputy here, they don't question the calls. They don't ask about the call before they go. They get the call and they respond. No questions asked. We've got to get behind them. So we're asking everybody out there, the silent majority, okay, to give $10. There's multiple ways to do it. They'll show the video again here in a minute. If you didn't see it, you can text to give. It's a simple process. The phone number is going to be on the screen. You can go to the website, bridgetheblue.com. And again, I remind you, Bridge the Blue was started almost 3 years ago, is a 501c3. You can get a tax receipt for it, okay? We are a nonprofit organization. You can also make a donation on Facebook. You can make a donation on PayPal. There's multiple ways for you to do it. But we, the silent majority, have got to stand up and be part of solving the problem. Okay? So, yeah, I'm being very forward here and just being real raw. But I'm telling you, folks, we got to quit dancing around the subject. We got to quit dancing around the subject. It's time to get busy. It's time to take this country back. It's time for the silent majority to stand up in every way. Okay? Every way that is appropriate. We need you to be active in this. This is not going to be solved by 2 or 3 people. It's going to take the entire country locking arms together. So right now, I'm asking you, don't wait till tomorrow. Don't wait till next week. Because the truth is, you know, if we go with statistics, once we're done with this program and you're not on it anymore, chances are you're going to forget about it. And you may not make that $10 donation or more. But if you go online right now and make that donation, you are helping solve the problem. Now, I can tell you that those monies are going to be distributed in several different ways. One way that those monies are going to be distributed is we're going to help departments with training and cost, equipment cost. We've been doing it now for about 2.5 years. And, you know, we haven't done a huge amount of it, but we have done some. And it's our goal to do more and more and more. Okay? The other way that we help with departments is we help them with the training. We help departments with fallen officers. We help their families. We help officers that have been hurt in the line of duty. Now, that could be a physical injury. It could be a mentally or emotionally injury. Maybe they need to go on vacation for a week, but they can't afford it, just so they can kind of just let everything go and just breathe and be human. Because we all know they don't get paid very much. It's why they all have to work extra jobs. Yeah. I know officers that literally are out there working full shifts and then some, and then they go work another shift, a side job, so that they can make it. Do they enjoy putting in all those hours? Probably not. They got to be tired. But they do it because they love the job and they don't want to do any other job that pays more. They want to be a cop. They want to be in law enforcement. Majority of this country's law enforcement officers, they are committed. They are committed to us. They're committed to the job. We've got to be committed to them. We have got to be committed to them. Another way that we use the money, okay, because I said there was 3 ways. Another way we use it is community programs. I want to mention one local school district here, a police department. It's Klein ISD Police Department. And we've worked with them for the last couple of years. They've got some of the most amazing officers in that department that I've ever met anywhere. And I've met a lot of cops across the country, okay? Nothing against anybody else. I'm just saying these guys are incredible. And they've got some of the best after-school programs with the youth to build those bridges and to work on becoming, locking arms together with the community. They do such a phenomenal job. In the last couple of years, that is one of the departments that we've helped fund those after-school programs. That's some of the places your money's going, okay? We can do this together. The other things that we do, events like this, this isn't free. We got to pay for this. We've got to pay for the engineering. We've got to pay for a lot of the things that we're doing here. We've got to pay. It just doesn't happen. But we got to make it happen. We got to make it happen. So that's where we need you to lock arms with us. So we're asking $10. $10 is all it takes. $10 from every individual out there today. Today, not tomorrow. Do it today so you don't procrastinate and forget tomorrow, okay? Be part of solving this problem financially as well. Let's put a vest. Let's put new vest on the officer that just testified about that story. Let's put a new vest on him now before something happens. So, again, I want to touch on one more subject here real quick. There's been a lot of negativity. I shouldn't say a lot. There's been a lot of positivity in the comments, on Facebook and YouTube, etc. I mean, the silent majority is speaking out. They're locking arms together, and I'm telling you, it is beautiful. It is beautiful, and I am so honored to lock arms with each and every one of you. You are incredible people. You are incredible people in an incredible country. But I want to speak to those that are putting the negative things on there. I'm just going to say it. I love you anyway. I think you're incredible. I don't know you personally, but I do know something about you. And yeah, I'm going to get just a little bit churchy on some of you right now. Okay? I know that you were created by God. And Scripture says that God has a plan for every single person. Nobody was created by mistake. Okay? I don't know what the hurts are, what the anger is in your life, but the one thing I can tell you is I'm open to hear it. I'm open to hear your heart. I really don't want to see necessarily and hear the anger and the profanity and so forth that some are speaking out, but I'm willing to listen to it if I have to in order to hear your heart. I want to see the lenses that you're looking through that have made you so angry towards law enforcement or towards me or whatever it is, okay? I appreciate you. And one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to try to create a table that we can all sit down at and we can talk about it. We can visit about it. We can be honest with one another without yelling, without cussing each other out, because that doesn't produce any fruit. All it does is create more tension and so forth, and that's not what we're about. We're about seeing problems solved. We're about seeing this country become the greatest country again in the world. Although I still think it is, it's just we got to get past some of these problems because we are on a road that's going the wrong direction. Okay? So again, I want to hear your heart. So feel free, meanwhile, to email us, to correspond with us, set up a time to have a Skype interview or whatever you want to call it, a FaceTime. We're open. We want to have the hard discussions with you. We want to hear your heart because that's going to help us solve the problems. That's going to help us move this country, okay, to where it needs to be. So once again, I just want to say I love you, and I think you're incredible. We'll be right back.
everybody. This is Troy Skeen from Bridge the Blue. And today I am super excited because we've got a special guest here with us. And I think all of you are going to be excited. It's Don Mann is here to share with us today some of his insight. Don is a retired member of the legendary fighting force known as SEAL Team 6. Don's also a New York Times best-selling author, having written 20 books. That's just crazy, 20 books. Don has over 40 years, 1,000 plus worth of competitive racing experience, 1,000 plus races. He's competed in 2 Ironman triathlons in a day. Did you get that, folks? 2 Ironman triathlons in a day, and was once ranked 38th in the world as a triathlete. Lastly, Don can be seen frequently on TV on the History Channel, Fox, ABC, NBC, CBS, and he just came off an amazing reality show called The Brigade that's going to be featured on the Outdoor Network. Don, it is such an honor and privilege to be sitting here with you, learning from some of your experiences, and I just want you to know that I am honored to be sitting here with you today.
Thank you, Troy. It's my honor to be here with you and for all what you're doing right now.
Thank you. Thank you. Don is here partly because of what Bridge the Blue is doing. He's an advocate for it, and he wants to share some of his insight with us through a series of questions that we have for him. And just again, Don, thank you for taking time to do that. I'd like to start off with it's a huge question, but it's also a very foundational question, and that is, what do you love about our country, and why have you sacrificed so much for it over the years?
Well, Troy, you know, I'm a patriot, for one. My father was a patriot. When we were attacked World War II by the Japanese, my father and his brothers and sister all quit school and joined the forces. And he retired, and all he did was give back to our veterans. And he did everything he could to make sure there's a flag on everybody's grave. And when somebody was wounded or hurt, I'd see tears in his eyes. So we grew up as patriots in my family, and he was also a former state cop. So it was always the sword and the shield that was important to me, the sword and the shield. And I love that phrase, the sword and the shield, because at home, it's the shield, the law enforcement who protects us all. And overseas, it's the military, which is the sword. And they work so well together. I love everything about this country. I went to school and I learned how great our country was, what the flag meant, what prayer meant, what our leaders did, our founding fathers did to create this country. I love every single thing about this country. I am very, very, very disappointed in what's going on right now and how there are people who want to destroy our country. We've had ISIS, Al Qaeda, all sorts of threats overseas, but I don't think we've ever had the threat inside our country trying to destroy our country from within. It really, really bothers me. And I try to look at it open-mindedly, both eyes open. And I don't get why people want to destroy this great country. I've been all over the world as a SEAL. I've been all over the world, CIA and SEAL, 40 years of experience and travel with the military and government. I have never been to a country where I couldn't wait to get back home. I always considered every tour a U.S. appreciation tour. It's not a perfect country. There's no such thing, but I love this country.
Wow, that's awesome. Wow, so do I, brother. So do I.
I know you do.
How have you used pain and conflict to your benefit, and how can we, as a country, take these conflicts and the pains that we're having and experiencing right now, and use them to our benefit? Because, like you said, there's a lot going on right now in our country, and how can we take those pains and conflicts and use them to grow from? Because if anybody knows pain and conflict, you know it.
Well, you know, not to sound like a masochist or anything, but I enjoy pain in the sense that I always come out the other end feeling stronger. And if I'm looking at some mountain I'm going to climb or go through some SEAL training program and I know it's going to hurt and I finish, I'm a stronger person at the other end of it. And so I learned to welcome the pain, to bring it on. Like the day I did 2 Ironmans in one day, I knew that was going to hurt a lot. And I passed out 32 miles into the run. And I woke up and I was in such pain. I woke up and I finished it. And now ever since then, I've been able to tell people, yeah, I've done Ironmans. I've actually did 2 in one day. The pain was worth it. Anytime I've experienced a lot of pain, it ended up being worth it. And now, we're being confronted with this world challenge. It's, of course, way bigger than the US. And we're all going through some sort of pain and conflict having to deal with this challenge. We know what to do. We know how to do the social distancing, hand washing, and all of that, masks. We know what to do. And it's going to give us an opportunity to pull together, work as a big team, all united, and beat the threat. I feel stronger coming out of these threats.
Wow, that's good. That's good. The silent majority of the American people, the ones that love God, love family, love this country, love the men and women in blue, don't tend to show up, don't tend to show a presence during times of conflict because of fear of retaliation. I mean, what would you say to that silent majority?
Well, the silent majority, in my opinion, is too silent right now. We're watching things crumble and be destroyed, and I'm in disbelief that there's not more people standing up to this. I tell you, I've been on all sorts of sites and everything, trying to find a way. How can I help? How can I help? How can I help prevent our country from being torn to pieces? The silent majority, I think, is way too silent, and we're not the type of people to cause riots and destruction and it's the squeaky wheel that's getting the grease. I do think the silent majority has to step up its tone in a professional manner and in an effective manner more than anything, because we can't just sit by and silently watch everything be destroyed.
Yeah. Wow. So, I mean, as a country, for several years now, we've been heading down a scary path. And so much of of this younger generation, they have little to no respect for our men and women in blue. And so many of the leaders in our communities, they've actually taken a neutral stance, or they've even partnered with the same narrative. This has only multiplied the problem by leaps and bounds. Without honor and respect, there is no order, there is no peace, there is no safety. How do we get respect and honor back in its proper place in our country?
I can look back at all the years I spent in the SEAL teams working closely with SWAT teams, especially the LAPD, but other SWAT teams too, Dade County, all the police officers we had coming in for shooting and tactics, weapons instruction. I can actually tell you, and I'm not just saying this because I'm on your show, I have never met a police officer, man or female, who I didn't think was an absolutely amazing individual and patriot. These people who talk about the bad cops, people make mistakes. People make mistakes. But what other profession do you have to quickly pull and react, and you have a split second to decide to shoot or not shoot? What other profession where the politics and the government allows people to throw water on your head while you're working? I mean, I can't believe the disgust and the humility that police officers have to go through now. I don't know how we're going to get it back, but I do see when they try to exclude them from certain communities, what shooting goes up 50%, 60%. I mean, all this crime just doubles, triples. I don't know what it's going to take for people to realize how important the law enforcement community is to protect our society. I don't know what it's going to take to for them to realize just how important it is. I think it'll take them needing the law enforcement to help them before they finally get it through that law enforcement is absolutely essential for our society to run. There will be mistakes made, but that's in every single profession on this planet. People will make mistakes.
I agree. I agree. And you kind of answered a little bit of it already, but with your experience in life, there's no question about it. You know the meaning of sacrifice. Okay. No one would ever question you about that. Can you expand on the sacrifices that you see our men and women in blue taking every day?
To tell you the truth, Troy, 21 years with the field. I missed all the family funerals and weddings and all that. And I've gone 300 days a year. And a lot of my friends have been killed and they were wounded and they come back PTSD problems. So that's a sacrifice there. I don't even compare that in the same regard as what police officers are going through now. I never had to worry about every day leaving my house and being attacked. I never had to worry about that overseas or at home. I never had to worry about stopping a car or helping somebody and thinking I'm going to be set up for an ambush. I never had to worry about that anybody in the crowd around me is the enemy. There were times in Iraq and Afghanistan you got that feeling, but they were rare. For the law enforcement, that's every day now, every day for them and their families. The sacrifice, I don't think there's one person in this country who faces more of a sacrifice than our law enforcement. Military overseas and our law enforcement, the sword and the shield. But right now, the military has the support of our people, and law enforcement doesn't, and that's heartbreaking for me.
Wow. Yeah, I agree. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe at one point in life, early on, you actually looked at possibly going into law enforcement. Isn't that correct?
I did. I wasn't a good kid. When I was shocking, but no, I wasn't a good kid. But I did know that I wanted to straighten up and do the right thing before I got out of high school. And I decided I wanted to be in the law enforcement community. I wanted to be a police officer. And I went to school in Connecticut for law enforcement and criminal justice. And I was so excited about it because of everything I've seen on TV, what the law enforcement community does and the police officers chasing the bad guys. But one of our professors came out one day, he said, how many of you are here so you can go chase the bad guys, shoot the bad guys, have these chases, police chases, jumping from building to building? How many of you are here for that? And we all raised our hands. He said, well, you guys aren't going to get any of that. Basically, you pull your weapon from your holster in defense of your life, and there's a good chance you're going to be in trouble. There's a good chance you're going to be divorced. The divorce rate's the highest in the civilian population. There's a good chance you're going to work the midnight shift. As a matter of fact, and you're going to get really low pay. And a lot of the community is going to be against you. So what you might think a police officer does because of what you've seen on TV, you're wrong. He pretty much discouraged me from wanting to be in law enforcement. I still got my degree in criminal justice, and I've always greatly admired and respected police officers. Every time I walk by one, I feel like I'm overdoing it by thanking them for what they do, but it's from the heart.
That's awesome. Wow. So our law enforcement officers today, as you've already expanded on a little bit, are under a lot of scrutiny, under a lot of pressure from all over the place. And what would you say? What would you like to say to the men and women in blue today?
To all the men and women in blue and their families, thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you for that deep inner conviction of wanting to do the right thing despite everything going against you right now. And also to know us, patriots and Americans, good Americans, are behind you 100%. Wouldn't think that by watching the news, but we are all behind you. And again, it's that squeaky wheel who's going against you. But I could not thank you more. And if there's anything I could ever do to assist law enforcement, I will for the rest of my life. And it means more to me now than ever in my life to want to support law enforcement.
Don, I believe the men and women of this great republic, the silent majority, need some encouragement as well. What could you say to them?
Well, I don't want to be part of the silent majority anymore. I have been actually. A lot of people in the silent majority were raising families, we're working, we work day and night. And so you don't hear the silent majority so much. It's discouraging because the silent majority is sitting back, sitting on their hands with their heads in the sand because they don't want to watch the news anymore because it's so discouraging. But while we're doing that, our country's being destroyed and we're letting it happen, and the political leaders are allowing it to happen. I would say to the silent majority, we can't sit back anymore. It's not optional. The only option is if we sit back, we can lose our country as we know it. We have to, like Troy says, lock arms, stay in force, stand up, and let's do something. Support Troy, support the law enforcement agencies, support the law enforcement community, and don't sit back and take this anymore. We are gonna lose this country if we sit back and let them have it. And that is what's happening right now. In my opinion, we are losing this war, and we don't have to lose it. We can stand up and be professionals and not riot or scream or yell, but we can beat this war, and we can beat those people who are trying to tear down our city. And we have to do that. We have to do that in an effective way quickly. There's no more time.
And if we don't step out and stop being silent, what's going to happen?
Okay, I can tell you what's happening right now in my little neck of the woods here. I don't go anywhere anymore without a weapon, and now I look at people as threats instead of neighbors. And that feeling is going to grow among us all. We're all going to be scared to go out of our house, no matter where we live. And it shouldn't have to be that way in this great country. We should know there's always the wolf out there. There's always a threat. We're the sheep. The sheep are everyday people. The sheepdog is law enforcement. They take care of. They look like a sheep, but they're the sheepdog who protects the sheep against the wolf. And we all have to know the wolf's out there. The only problem is that wolf, the criminal or terrorist or the bad guy, whatever you want to call him, the wolf is getting bigger and bigger and more ferocious. And the sheep are just sitting back and taking it. And the sheepdog, unfortunately, in a lot of our governments and a lot of our cities, they're told not to react. So the wolves are getting an advantage over the sheep. And the sheepdogs there to protect them aren't able to do what they know how to do. We all know how to stop these things from happening. We have all the non-lethal weapons and ability to stop these things. The problem is the governments aren't allowing the police officers to stop that threat, to stop that wolf, and he's attacking the sheep while the sheepdog sits back and watches. And that analogy is something that means a lot to me, the sheepdogs and the wolf, because sheep are everyday people who are just minding their own business. In our case, I think the silent majority. But the wolf is getting bigger and badder, and he wants to attack those sheep. And those who protect the sheep, they're handcuffed. They can't get out and do what they know how to do. So we have a problem, and we do have we can't afford just to let our country be destroyed in front of our own eyes while we sit here doing nothing.
I agree. We have got to stop being silent. So we outnumber the other side by vast numbers. By vast numbers. I truly believe that. There are way more sheep than there are wolves. And but I do believe that if we can lock arms together and get back to the basics in life, okay, get down to the foundational principles, because there's always going to be things that we see different, okay, and because we have different life experiences and so forth, I mean, Don, there's no way that you and I are going to see everything exactly the same because we haven't walked in the same shoes, okay, but that's what makes us
that's what makes it amazing, because when we connect and we're working together, there's really, between the things you've experienced and the things that I brought to the table, there's not much that we can't accomplish. And I believe that about the American people. This is the greatest country in the world. I so believe that. I love this country. And the biblical principles that it was founded on, God, family, country. I mean, I love it. But we've got to link arms, and we've got to take this head on together and stop being silent.
Yeah, so well said. I pray about this. I pray about it. I think about it actually all day long. Not moments go by without me thinking of this big problem we're facing. But what you just said there, locking arms and standing up, that is the answer. That is the answer. That's what we need to do.
Right on. Well, Don, I want to say thank you for spending time with us today. And I know that the American people that are listening right now, each and every one of them are probably took different bits and pieces from this. And, you got so much wisdom, so much experience. And again, I just want to say thank you for taking time out and spending it with us today.
Troy, thank you. And thank you for all you're doing for our communities. Good luck.
Thank you.
Hey guys, this is Mark Townsend coming to you from Los Angeles, California. I wanted to give a big shout out to Bridge the Blue and a big shout out to our law enforcement, the men and women in blue. And we just want to say we appreciate you. And we want to thank all of you for joining us on this live stream. Please consider donating. Click the donate button, be a part of the conversation. And I'm going to play a little song for you called My Country 'Tis of Thee.
Hey everybody, Dan Crenshaw here. To our brave men and women in blue, I want to say one thing. Thank you. Thank you for all you do to keep our community safe. Thank you for being the thin blue line between chaos and order. Thank you for risking your lives to protect and serve. Now, you may not have heard that message from your elected leaders recently. Too many politicians, too many media pundits, and too many radical anarchists have dominated the national conversation about our cops. They want to defund the police. They want to demonize the police. They want to dismantle the police, and they are not afraid to say it. In fact, sadly, they are proud to say it. But while they scream their radical slogans and threaten to implement dangerous policy, you all quietly carry out your thankless duty. You help a driver stranded alone on the side of the highway. You step in to defend a woman or a child from domestic violence. You knock down the door of a drug dealer who has been preying on kids. You put on your uniform and walk out your
Every day he pulls the uniform on, kisses his baby, holds her in his arm, leaves behind and everything he loves. Goes out in the world to be Superman, even though he's a normal man, fighting evil in this world. Waves at you as you pass by, not knowing the fear he holds aside. Say a prayer to protect his life, like all heroes. But they're angel in the sky, and I back the blue. When the world's pure hell shining through, when it's all too much to bear, they come through. They do the things we don't have the guts to do. Don't ask me where I stand, 'cause I back the blue. Stripped of this ever since he was young. His daddy cried the day they put that badge on. The pride inside of him is so real, he cries for his brothers who were killed. He gave his life for you and me. He knows exactly what the cost could be. Don't you dare ask me where I stand, 'cause I back the blue. When the world's pure hell shining through, when it's all too much to bear, they come through. And they do the jobs we don't have the guts to do. Ask me where I stand, 'cause I'm back to blue. Hear stories about his brothers not coming home, leaving their wife and babies all alone. He sleeps with the crazy things he's seen, but expected to carry a smile for you and me. And I back the blue. When the world's pure hell shining through, when it's all too much to bear, they come through. They do the things we ain't got the guts to do. Don't ask me where I stand, 'cause I back the blue.
Hi, I'm Governor Asa Hutchinson of Arkansas. In my career, I've served as a U.S. Attorney, Director of the Drug Enforcement Administration, and as an Undersecretary in Homeland Security. In those jobs, I've watched law enforcement officers at all levels risk their life to protect the life of another. Every police officer and the members of his or her family know there is no such thing as a routine call. That is true now more than ever. The work of law enforcement has never been more difficult, dangerous, or uncertain. But one thing is certain: the vast majority of American people respect and love police officers. Americans know that police officers are good people who have answered the high calling of serving others. We know that you will rush to rescue us from danger or to comfort us at the scene of a crime or a wreck. I'm honored to express my support for the Blue. Thank you, and God bless you and keep you safe.
Wow, some incredible, incredible people that we are hearing from today. And I just want to again say, you guys out there and gals, you are all incredible, and we're honored to have you here today, live streaming with us as we honor the men and women that wear the badge every single day. Coming up next, we want to show you some of the rallies that happened today. So without further ado, let's take a look.
Friend Doug Smith, 28 years in law enforcement in Arkansas. Now he's the public safety liaison to the governor of Arkansas. And we're here to tell you how much we appreciate everything that the men and women do, and the majority of this country is going to be silent no more. So I thank you, Doug.
I just want to take the opportunity to thank all of the men and women who make the sacrifice, decide to put the uniform on, go out every day, not knowing that they will return home to keep us safe. Thank you for all that you do to keep us protected.
God bless you.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, where the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away.
From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, oh, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say,
Yes, I am proud to be an American. I'm telling you, Lee Greenwood just knocked it out of the park, folks. That whole team, that is one of the best videos, songs I have ever heard played. I just want to expand on a couple things real quick before we end today. We've got just a couple more things coming for you, but I want to once again just say, ladies and gentlemen, this is our country. This is our country. This is our time. This is the time that you and I, that the American people, that the silent majority gets their opportunity to link arms and to stand up and to take back this country back to the foundational values that it was built on. This is something that we can do if we do it together. We can have honor back in our country. We can respect and honor our law enforcement. Our children can grow up to know who law enforcement is, why they're there, and give them the honor and respect that they deserve. I want to tell each and every one of you that wear the badge today that we love you. That we love you, that we respect you, that we are privileged and honored to have you out there answering the call each and every day on our behalf. I want you to know that we are grateful, that we're grateful to each and every one of you. Even though we may not show it like we should, I want you to know that we are so grateful. Thank you. Thank you for the sacrifices that you're taking. Thank you for the sacrifices that you're making. We're grateful. Folks, I want to just touch on a couple of quick things here real quick. I think most of you would probably agree because we've had several remarks about this, but hasn't the production of this live stream just been phenomenal today? The crew has done an absolutely amazing job. Again, we didn't have a whole lot of time to put things together, but the streaming job that these guys did today is absolutely incredible. And I just say thank you to the Bounce Media team. You guys have earned the respect today. You guys have done an incredible job, and thank you for your commitment, and we're grateful to have you here helping us today. I want to just touch on one other thing here real quick. People have been asking, what's coming up next? Where are we going from here? Well, some of that we can release, and some of that we can't tell you yet because we're not ready to release that, because we don't want to release something that we're not fully ready to answer the questions and explain and so forth. But we do have several things that are going to be released over the next week or two, and I think that you, the American people, the silent majority, are going to be excited about, and you're going to be able to see, okay, that's how I can be involved. That's how I can participate. That's how I can help not be silent anymore. Okay? So bear with us a little bit. Stay tuned in. Stay, getting the link on bridgetheblue.com. Sign up for all of the updates and so forth. It's a super simple process. And together, we're going to do this. United we stand, okay? So, again, that's bridgetheblue.com. It'll be on here at the end of the video again. But stay connected. We got a lot of things coming up. I will announce a couple of things, though. We've got a couple of huge events that are going to take place. These are very organized events. These are events that are going to have some great entertainment, fireworks, the whole kit and caboodle, okay? And that's going to come up. The first one I'm going to go ahead and announce, and that is going to be August 23rd in the Lake of the Ozarks, okay? And there's already tons of people that are super excited about it, that were made aware of it ahead of time. And it's going to be a phenomenal event. The next one I'm going to go ahead and tell you about is happening right here in the Houston metro area. We're going to be inviting people from all over the place to saturate this community, okay? And we have one heck of a program that is being developed, one heck of an event that is going to be absolutely incredible. Matter of fact, I can't wait to release to you who the entertainment is going to be for that event, but you're going to have to hold off just a little bit longer, okay? But that event is going to be on September 11th. That's right, 9/11. It'll start in the late afternoon here in the metro area, Houston metro area. And again, stay tuned for further details on that. It's going to be incredible. The events, again, are just one aspect of the things that we're doing. There's several other aspects that we're going to be releasing, again, over the next week or two that I believe everybody will be super excited about. And, yeah, so I want to say thank you for joining here today, spending time with us. It's been a great time. We've had a lot of great comments and a lot of things said, people calling in, texting in, leaving remarks and so forth on the in the social media chats. And it's just been a really incredible time. Again, thank you, men and women in blue. We honor and respect you. The last thing I want to say is we're going to end now. But the way we're going to end today is we've got one more special thing for you. And you guys remember Vinnie Montez earlier, the officer that shared in the video, who is also a comedian. He actually has a new show that's getting ready to be released. I believe it's on Comedy Central. So I encourage you to look it up here in the next week or so. I believe it's being released, and his show is phenomenal. But the way we're going to end is with a 5-minute video from Vinnie and his comedy that he does give. So I thank you again for participating. But until later on, here's Vinnie.
Oh, man, let's get this out of the way real quick. I've been a cop for the last 20 years. Any cops in here tonight? All right, without backup. We had a fight at the college. This young guy got me good, man. I get there, I jump out of my car. I'm like, hey, did you guys see the fight over here? Two young dudes. One dude's like, dude, totally saw what happened, bro. Totally saw what happened, okay? All right, you overachiever. Can you write me a written statement? He's like, heck no, dog. I could send you a text message. So I give him my phone number. 20 minutes later, this kid sends me a text message. Hey, Popo. I ain't no rat, biatch. That's not even the bad part. On busy nights when I'm working, this kid still sends me random text messages. Hey, Popo, we're about to leave the bar. Where you guys at right now? When I went to the academy, I did not sign up for a lot of things, right? I signed up for what I knew was going to happen, but I did not sign up for dealing with bears. This lady called 911. She's like, there's the bear in my kitchen. There's the bear in my kitchen. That's my brown? Latinos, if it was a brown bear, I could connect, right? Like, all right, vato, ¿qué pasó, qué rollo? ¿Qué onda? ¿They got any refin o qué? What's going on there? But that wasn't the situation, right? And my partner that night, he was one of the SWAT guys. He comes out on the stage, he's like, yeah, bro. We're gonna get the bear, bro. Don't worry, bro. So Captain America and I are driving up the mountain. We get to the call, man, and before I can stop him, he jumps out of the car, he grabs the shotgun, he's all, shh, shh. Come on, dude, you cannot shoot a bear with a shotgun, bro. The Subaru drivers are not gonna tolerate that. But before I could stop Captain America, there he goes running into the house. I wish I was making this next part up. The very next thing that I hear is this. I hear bear, 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 bear. Hey, Bear, where you at, Bear? This dude's in there like Elmer Fudd. Ha! I'm gonna find out Bear. I'm gonna find out Bear. At that point, I gotta be honest with you. I was actually rooting for the bear. That's all. Because I'm thinking to myself, what are you gonna do? Search the house all tactically and everything? round the corner in the kitchen, come face to face with a bear and be like, hey, boo-boo, got a picnic basket? Subaru drivers, where you at? Shut up, nobody cares, nobody cares. We had a riotous situation in Boulder, Colorado one time, right? There was a bunch of Subaru drivers who were like, protest, protest. I say protest, protest. And the bosses were like, we're gonna call out the riot team, we're gonna shoot them with a bunch of pepper balls. I'm like, why? It's just a bunch of Subaru drivers? If you're gonna shoot them with anything, shoot them with gluten balls. Be like, gluten grenade! But then one of the people of the Subi Nation would come out, they'd be like, wait a minute. I'm not worried about it. I got the antidote. Little peppermint essential oil underneath the eyes. Subaru driver's gonna shank me after the show. But prepare yourselves for this. Millennial cops are entering the workforce. So I'm a first-line supervisor where I work, right? This is what happens, right? I'm reading DUI reports, and what do I find? Nothing but emojis. I was reading a DUI report, and I'm like, what is this? He's like, what are you talking about, Sarge? It's clearly spelled out, drunk emoji, get to the jail, poop emoji, poop emoji.